Know the gang, know the gang, know the gang. Where my notification gang at? Now, in my opinion, the 3 receiver hook is one of the most underrated zones in Madden 19, just in Madden in general. Obviously, it's not completely ignored because the pro players know about it and know how to use it, and the people who spam crossfire see the zone all the time and they inadvertently use it, but they probably don't know the specifics behind it. And the majority of the Madden community, I would say, may not know actually what it does, but that's what I'm here for. If you stick through this video, you'll learn different ways you can use the 3 receiver hook zone and how you can use it to improve your defense. Let's get it. So as far as my knowledge goes, the only way to get a 3 receiver hook or a 3-rec or a 3-rec zone is to come out in a zone blitz. I'm not sure of any way you can audible to them, but I know if you come out in zone blitzes, they normally have it. Obviously, you can see in the crossfire, it's better to have the 3 receiver hook be a safety because they have better zone. But in this case, we're going to use a linebacker. So you see here that yellow zone by that safety is actually a 3 receiver hook. So let's come out and wheel buck 3 press, and I'll show you guys a few of the intricacies of the 3 receiver hook. Tweaking off that 2CB, huh? Is he gone? So you see here, this zone right here by Roberts, the 3-rec hook or the 3 receiver hook, is the zone that we're talking about. It's pretty versatile in that it can guard the middle of the field and it can guard shallow routes pretty well depending on how you shade. So my favorite way to use it is to lurk the underneath routes, and I do that by shading underneath. Press triangle or Y and then pull the right stick down. You can see that we shaded underneath because we see here these seam flats by this linebacker and his DB. When I shade underneath, they become hard flats. And what that's going to do to the 3-rec is going to sit here and it's going to lurk underneath. It's kind of like a QB spy, but it does a better job against the zones. So you see here, I'm going to move my user out of the way, and we're going to see how it affects those in routes by Fitzgerald and Williams. Obviously, Fitzgerald is going to be open right there because there's no 3-rec there. But you see here, he actually made a play on the ball and made that in route really tough to complete. Obviously, like I said earlier, if you have a safety in the 3-rec, it does a better job against those because they have higher zone coverage, so they will react better to the pass. A safety probably is going to get that pick. But once again, you get the 3-rec out here, you shade underneath. It's a drag this time, so like drag routes and in routes are pretty good at being covered by these 3-recs. I'm going to go ahead and throw it right here. We actually got screamed at by the defensive tackle. That's crazy. I'm not even trying to send heat. But obviously you have heat to worry about as well. But shade underneath, get that drag out there by Fitzgerald. And you see here that 3-rec is right there to cause a hit stick, to get a pick, potentially cause a fumble if the receiver holds onto it. But I also use 3-recs to guard halfback anger routes, which are pretty annoying. Let's check that out.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 M's in my bank account. Yeah, in my bank account. Yeah.
If you're new to this channel and you find this video useful, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. So the halfback anger routes are pretty annoying because they get open underneath most of the zones, and a lot of the zones won't cover them, but the 3 receiver hook will. So you see here how I normally use this hook zone against halfback anger routes is I will flip it to where the halfback anger route will run into this zone. So in this case, I'm going to put them on the left side. Now you shade underneath. And another way I like to help it is I'll put a spy out there. You don't need a spy, but sometimes I will, just in case, you know, they got Michael Vick. So that way the spy will help cover that angle route, and it'll help me get a decent amount of coverage for like Michael Vick or Donovan McNabb. And you're gonna see here the angle route is covered right there, and then the hook takes them. And then when your opponent tries to throw it to the halfback angle route, even when it comes a little bit farther left of the 3 receiver hook, that zone coverage will cover them. So that's pretty good. Now I'm going to show you guys a way I use it against routes that come across the middle of the field. So we have the infamous level cell play. So now you don't want to only use your 3 receiver hook kind of like a pseudo QB spy. You want him to guard the middle of the field, and that's also why I like this zone. If you don't touch it, if you don't do any shading, or if you shade over top, like press triangle or Y and pull the right stick up, if you do that, now he's going to guard the middle of the field a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove my user from the play and just give you an example of what its natural coverage is going to do. We have level sail out here, and what it's going to do is going to drop to the middle of the field, and it shades pretty well on those zones across the middle. You see how it initially guarded the deep end route and then it came down, so you can use that aspect. So if you're worried about your opponent switching off, like doing a high-low read, it does a good job against that. And also if you shade over top, I'm pretty sure it'll stay with that deep end route as long as it can. So I'm going to move, once again, let me move my user out of the way. Don't want my user to interfere. Got the level sail here. Now I shaded over top, and it does a pretty good job of staying with that there. You notice how when we first use it, obviously that end route ran away from the zone that the 3 receiver hook was covering, but initially it covered it, and then when you leave it alone, like you saw earlier, it like switches levels. So that's how I like to use it. But I also like to use it, and I like to mix up my coverage. So I will come out in a coverage like this, and then I'll base align and change it to like a cover 2. So now I have the normal cover 2 with the deep blue middle linebacker, and now I have my 3 receiver hook switching levels, and now I use this guy. So it's pretty good zone coverage. You got the cloud flats, you got the cover 2 deep blue, so you're not getting bombed. You have a user free, and then you have a zone here that you can either shade underneath so he can lurk low, or he can do the normal switching if you don't adjust the zones, or he can play deeper across the middle if you shade over top. So that's why I like this zone, is that you can do a lot of things with it, because depending on how you shade, it will do different things. So in conclusion, if you shade underneath, it will help you stop drags, in routes, and angle routes. If you don't touch it, it will adjust to the levels of the routes by itself. Obviously, you got better zone coverage here, it'll work better. And then if you shade over top, it'll help stop those intermediate routes, that like those deep end routes, and sometimes it'll cover post for a little bit. But that's why I like that zone. I figured that you guys could be able to use something like that. Now, I recently released a video on another way you can use your safeties in coverage. It's normally through like cover 3 buzz zones and cross manning them, so it'll help you stop crossing routes and post routes. And watching that video will help you stop crossing routes, post routes, and routes across the middle. I'll leave a card up in the top right corner so you guys can jump straight to that video. If you found this video useful, let me know by hitting that like button. Now, since the video is over, that doesn't mean the topic is over. I want to know, what's your favorite coverage to sit in? Is it cover 3, cover 4, cover 2 with the deep blue with the linebacker? Let me know in the comment section and we can chop it up. That's it for this video. Appreciate you guys showing up. See you guys around next time. I'm out.